So hello, my love, and welcome to the Irresistible Woman. 3 simple shifts that help you stand out to high quality men and make them pursue you. So if you are here live or catching the replay, I would imagine that you're single and you don't want to be. That you are actively dating, but not meeting the men that interest you and wondering what you're doing wrong. Maybe you're even the one calling, texting the guy first. Like you're always instigating that contact. You're not feeling pursued or chased by men. You're meeting emotionally unavailable men, meeting men who ghost you, men who are hot and cold, men you're not interested in, men who have like emotional issues and blockages. Or you're maybe not even meeting men at all. Perhaps you've been single for a very long time. You haven't been in a serious relationship for a very long time, quite possibly years. I see that happen quite a bit with my clients. You're meeting men who bore you. I hear that word a lot. Wimpy, they're not directed in their lives. They're struggling financially. And the reality is you want to meet a man of your caliber. A man who is sexy, a man who is attractive, driven, successful, passionate, has done the work, healed his stuff, is communicative, emotionally available, and probably prefer to meet him naturally versus online. The majority of my clients and ladies prefer to meet their men naturally, not to say that they couldn't meet him online, but that is why you are here. And by the end of this presentation, this masterclass, this training, it's my intention that you're going to shift from feeling hopeless or maybe unattractive or like you're doing something wrong to understanding exactly what needs to shift and what needs to be done to attract in those types of high caliber man that you're looking for, high caliber men that you're looking for, and how to get them to pursue you. So since you're here with me live, yay, thank you. Feel free to type into the chat box who you are and what you do. And I can, or actually no, who you are and what your biggest challenge is. So that way, well, I do want to know what you do as well. So who you are, what you do, what your biggest challenge is, so that I can personalize and give some specific examples as we go through the content, as I go through my notes. At the very end, I will absolutely have space for questions. You're welcome to type them in as we go along, but I will most likely save them till the end. And that's where I will also answer the questions that came in over email. So today's master class, my intention is that you are going to get some key takeaways that you can implement immediately. Those of you that know me, that have been in my classes, my courses, my programs, you know I like to give you information that you can implement rather than just being a talking head. And the one thing though you need to know is there isn't necessarily a magic formula for attraction. And I feel like one of the biggest misconceptions, because a lot of teachers are like, this is the magic formula. And yes, I'm teaching 3 simple shifts, but it's not like I can just wave a magic wand and these men are going to appear. And at least not after a single masterclass. So I want to be incredibly honest with you here today that magnetism and irresistibility is something that is cultivated over time. It definitely exists within you. It absolutely exists within you, but it's something that you develop over time consistently, and you work at embodying it. Just like you don't go to the gym once and have a fit body, you continuously go to the gym, you continuously lift the weights and apply the tools. And so it's going to be the same thing here tonight. I'm going to give you some amazing information. And when you apply it over time, when you embody the teachings, that is the magnetism, that is the irresistibility. And so I'm sure you can relate with this because all of my clients are too much in their brains, in their logical mind, their masculine energy versus the embodied, feminine, irresistible energy. And just like going to the gym for the first time, it can be awkward lifting the weights in the beginning. It doesn't feel right and normal, but give it weeks and months and you can do it no problem. So today, this is going to be a jump start to your energy, your magnetism, your irresistibility. All right, Angie is a program manager in tech. Biggest challenge is confidence. Okay, so program manager in the tech field, lots of masculine energy there, absolutely. Jen, pharmacist working in health regulation. Biggest challenge is also confidence as well as feeling motivated to date. Okay, yeah. If you're not feeling motivated to date, it's going to be quite challenging to actually attract in those types of men. Confidence, I'm glad both of you mentioned that today, because we will get into the energetic aspects, absolutely. So don't worry, we are going to get into that. If anybody else wants to chime in, by all means, feel free. So for those of you that are new to me, I know absolutely some of you, I've seen your names before. You've been in some of my courses or programs or masterclasses. Thank you for coming back. I always love having my alumni here. But for those of you that are new to me, hello, I'm Emyrald Sinclair, and I'm a love coach. And what I do is support single, successful women just like you to attract in your high caliber match in as little as 6 months. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. There is no limit. There's no timeline. It can happen quite quickly. And so in the past, you have to know, I was pursuing men. I was chasing men. I was not meeting great men. I was meeting men who just wanted sex, men who were married. Ooh, you ever meet those? And it wasn't until I learned what I'm teaching you today that everything shifted. And I remember very specifically, it was like a light switch moment. And I'd be walking down the street, I'd walk into any store, and it was like I was meeting available, high quality, successful, attractive men everywhere. It was like I had a perfume on that said high caliber men. And so these men were stepping up to the plate. They wanted to woo me. They wanted to pursue me. They wanted to take me on trips, 5-star dinners, treat me like a queen. And it was quite honestly amazing. And for the past 6 years, what I have been doing is teaching my clients the tools that I now present within the Magnetic Femme program. That is my 6-month private coaching program, within Magnetize, the group coaching program, and all the other smaller courses that I teach. And what I have found is that when my clients make the like a couple of small tweaks, okay? It doesn't have to be huge, but a couple of small tweaks, and implement them over the course of a couple of months, in this case, usually 6, they are quickly successful in meeting exceptional men in person and online, because there's nothing wrong with online dating, which then turns into the amazing partner they've been looking for. All right, Desiree says, I'm a pharmacist, but retired, 58, no problem meeting men, but finding the ones I'm attracted to is an issue. Actually, 57, today's my birthday. Happy birthday, darling. Oh yes, you are also a December baby. Mine's in a week. Okay, so here's things that I've seen my clients do before working together, and you've probably done some of these things as well to shift your dating reality. You've likely gone to therapy, listened to podcasts, read love and dating books, gone to speed dating events, maybe tried online dating, and some have even hired a matchmaker with little to zero success. So why don't these solutions work? They work for some people, but why aren't they working for you? Is probably what you're asking yourself. Well, for those of you that know me, you know that I love to say and share that it's not what you do, but who you are when you're doing it. And so it's your energy. It's your belief system. When you shift the internal and then take action, like go out into the world or go online, that's when it changes. So the internal needs to shift first before the external. And so if you're going to therapy, sometimes it depends if it's talk therapy, psychotherapy, what type of therapy it is. But let's just say with the podcast, reading the books, speed dating, online dating, matchmaker, those are all external. When you shift the internal first and then you apply the external, that's when your reality changes. That's when the caliber of men that you meet change. And so we're going to get into that today with shift 3. And the old model of dating, the misconceptions of dating, all of these things that I have heard that I do not teach, which is why my clients are so successful, is things like, oh, put your best foot forward, right? Like present only your best self, dress a certain way, get a makeover, hide your flaws, go on as many dates as you can. There's one coach out there teaching the man funnel, like get as many men into your funnel as you can, which is quantity over quality, which I don't believe in at all. That's exhausting. That's why so many women are exhausted with dating. You could hang out in certain restaurants and bars, be on all of the online dating sites. And the biggest one that irks me is your standards are too high. You need to settle. You need to ask for less. So these are some of the misconceptions of dating. Feel free to type in more if you've heard them. But what I teach, this is Emyrald's model of dating, Emyrald's model of attraction, is you have to work through those inner subconscious blocks. You just do. There is no magic pill. I'm teaching you 3 shifts today, but you have to apply them. It's not enough to just listen to a training. So you have to work through those internal blocks. You have to understand and express your core values. We're talking long-term partnership here. So what actually really matters to you in life and in partnership? You develop more of who you really are. And we're going to get into this today in shift 1, embracing all the different sides of you and showing your true character to men you're dating rather than trying to fit into a mold of what you think they might like to impress them. It's understanding your unique needs and desires and how to express them. For some reason, a lot of women don't actually understand their needs and desires, let alone how to express them. So for the ladies that suffer with confidence, that's the confidence to express. Quality over quantity. I teach my clients how to raise their standards, ask for more, and then get pursued by typically 3 to 5 high caliber men, and then they pick between them. So you're not going out on a million dates. You're raising the bar. You're actually narrowing your focus on what you want, getting super clear. So there's no man funnel here. And attracting in a very specific top 1% caliber of man. And energy will always trump strategy. It's not what you're doing. It's who you are when you're taking action, which is why so many of these actions that women are taking that you have most likely tried do not work. So all of these aspects, these modalities I teach within the Magnetic Femme program, and I'm going to give you a taste of what that is today so you can start making the shifts necessary to become the irresistible woman. All right, Veronica, medical doctor, health coach, yoga instructor, mom to a teenage daughter, dog and guinea pig. You're adorable. Working on my first health coaching online course. Major hurdles, not enough time. Not dating, but gathering information. Beautiful. I love that. Proactive. So Veronica, as a single mom, medical doctor, all these certifications, you're also often in your masculine energy trying to do it all, control it all. So today is going to be also incredibly important for you. I love that you're being proactive. This is amazing. All right. So let's get into this. Shift number 1. So there's 3 shifts that we're going to get into tonight. The first one is your actions. We live in a physical reality. You have to take action. So for those of you that said you're not even dating, well, how do you expect to meet high caliber men if you're not even dating, if you're not feeling motivated to date? So your actions are incredibly important and they need to shift. So the most attractive traits that high quality men are searching for that make them want to pursue a woman and commit. I'm going to share with you, I think I have 7 traits. But the disclaimer is that every man does, of course, want something different. He's going to want a different combination of these traits. This list is not all inclusive by any means, but I'm sharing this with you so that you can see how well-rounded you are, but perhaps there's certain characteristics you're not showing. So Veronica is probably very much in the traits of independence and strength. And I would imagine she's very nurturing with her daughter, her dog, her guinea pig. But what about the other aspects that we're going to get into? And so with these traits, what I've seen is so many women are just in 1 or 2 of them. And they're not allowing their full self to be seen. And men do want to be with a woman. A high quality man wants to be with a well-rounded woman. So what are some of these traits? The first one is independence, which I would imagine the majority of you, if not all of you, have probably well mastered. You have your own life, your own hobbies, your interests, your passions. You're not always available for dating. It's not like you have a bunch of free time on your hands. You are satisfying the majority of your own pleasure and happiness. And so the independence men absolutely crave because they don't want to be responsible for your happiness. So the opposite end of that spectrum would be the woman who is too much in her nurturing side, too feminine, too nurturing, too smothering, too motherly. So two of these traits, we have the independence and we have the nurturing. The independence, when it's too independent, you're way too masculine. The nurturing, when you're too nurturing, you're way too feminine or even mothering. That's not good. And so for the woman that's too nurturing, can she cultivate more of the independence? For the woman who's too independent, can she cultivate more of that nurturing side? And then the next two, strong, not afraid to have an opinion, to push back. Men enjoy a challenge. But the potential downside is you're too strong. You don't need his support. You don't need him. You can do it all on your own. You're strong. You're independent. I'm a woman. Hear me roar. Of course you can do it all on your own. But if you could do it all on your own, then what would a man, why do you need him? He needs to feel needed. So the opposite of strength is receptive. You're able to ask for help and receive support. This is a big one. We go so much deeper into this in my flirt program, which is all about really mastering the feminine energy, and flirt is included in the magnetic femme. And so the receptive, how do you let him take care of you? How do you ask for help, support, advice, not have to do it all on your own? So there's potential downsides to them both. The potential downside of being too strong is you don't need him, and he's going to feel that. The potential downside of being too receptive and asking for help and support is you're too needy. You're too codependent. You can't do anything on your own without asking for help. And then the man starts to feel like your father, your caretaker. That doesn't work either. But can you balance? Can you balance being strong, having an opinion, pushing back, doing things on your own, and being receptive to his help, his support, him asking, or you asking his opinion? And then we have the next two that kind of go on the opposite end of the spectrum. We have successful. I have yet to meet a man in my adult dating relationship life that wants a woman that he can just take care of. Most modern men want their partner. They want a woman who is also successful, a career woman. Now, they don't necessarily want the career woman that is so busy and independent in her career that she doesn't have time or space for a relationship. That could potentially be some of your blocks. But so that would be a potential downside, right? You're so focused on your career, you're too much in your masculine energy, you don't have time and space for a relationship, you're probably too strong, too independent. So the opposite end of that is the playful, fun side. Right? So super successful and serious, knows where she's going, goal-oriented, kicking ass, taking names, getting shit done. But what about the playful, the fun side, the easygoing? Doesn't take life so seriously, doesn't take herself so seriously. Long-term, a man looking for the long-term wants to know that he's going to have fun with his partner, that she's easy to please, because men want to feel like they've won at making you happy. So if you're easy to please because you like to have fun, you like to laugh, you like to smile, you're not so serious. And he's like, oh God, she has such high expectations. Can I live up to those expectations? Is she going to nag me? Is she going to bitch at me? So can you have both the successful, but the playful and fun? And then the last one is the flirtatiousness, flirtation. You don't have to be a bombshell. You don't have to be the stereotypical magazine beauty. It's how he feels when he's around you. And when you flirt, that is helping him to feel desired. Flirting is something that so many of my clients are not very good at because they're in the successful, independent, masculine, get shit done energy, that they don't know how to play with the tension and the energy of desire, of being in that feminine energy. And once again, within the flirt program in the Magnetic Femme, it's all about getting into that flirtatious, feminine, playful, fun, receptive energy. So when we went through this list, you can see it's a combination of masculine and feminine. Independent is masculine, nurturing is feminine, strong is masculine, receptive is feminine, successful, masculine, playful, fun, flirtatious, feminine. And so can you be a combination of them? Most likely you've figured out how to be certain ones of them. They just come naturally to you. You already embody the independent woman, the successful woman, the strong woman. You don't have to think about it. But the other ones, perhaps the playful, the fun, the flirtatious, the nurturing, asking for help, being receptive, most likely it doesn't come naturally for you. And so that's what you would need to work on to have that balance, and also understanding at what time to be which, because there is a time and place to be the serious, the strong energy, and there's a time and place to be the flirtatious and the fun energy. And so think about how to nurture all sides of you. And once again, this isn't about trying to be someone that you're not, but being more of who you are. So the kick-ass, powerful, successful career woman and the loving, nurturing, playful, sexy woman who needs her man to support her emotionally. Okay. So Katya, what's the opposite of flirtatious? Serious. I didn't have an opposite one because I put 7 down. But I would say the opposite of flirtatious is serious. And I wouldn't say that men are looking for a serious woman, but they absolutely want that woman who's successful. And when you're successful, it tends to be you're more like narrow focused, or maybe the opposite of flirtatious is strong, or the opposite of flirtatious is independent. But flirtation is, oh, you know what the opposite would be, but it's not something that men desire, is frigid, cold. Because flirtatious helps them to feel desired. Frigid, cold, maybe actually even shy or lack of confidence, right? If you don't know how to flirt because you're scared. But once again, that's not a trait that men are looking for. So there's no really like opposite of flirtatious. I guess serious. Good question. You're welcome, sweetie. So if you're not sure how to embrace all of these sides of you, then that's what the content within the Magnetic Femme is going to show you. How to be more of who you are, to work and cultivate on the parts of you that are hidden. Because most likely you've been taught that being vulnerable and asking for help was weak. It's a big one for all of my clients, when actually it's what strong men crave. Knowing that they can take care of you, that it's even more attractive to them when they know they have a woman who is independent, who's successful, who's strong, who has her shit together, who can do it all on her own, but that she trusts her lead and lets down her guard and armor and lets him in to support her. It's incredibly attractive to men. I know she can do it, but she's asking for my help and my support. So the first shift are your actions, who you're being when you show up. So a quick recap, we have flirtatious, playful and fun, successful, receptive to help, strong, nurturing, and independent. Now, if we go on to shift number 2, this is the words. So the top 3 communication mistakes that repel high quality men and have them running away from you. Mind you, there are plenty of communication mistakes. I have an entire course on communication. You're all going to get the bonus texting scripts. I'll send that out in email after this masterclass to just give you an idea of where you might be going wrong in your communication, because men and women, big surprise, they're different. We communicate differently. We communicate with men how we would want to be communicated with ourselves, or how we would communicate with our girlfriends, but that's not actually the best way to communicate, and vice versa. Unless a man is evolved and has done some work, he'll communicate with you how he communicates with his guys. And so 3 mistakes that I have seen. So the first one is when you're in the wounded feminine, when you're needy, insecure, jealous, pursuing him, chasing after him. That's wounded feminine. It's like, hey, look at me, give me attention, I'm here. And so this can be talking down on yourself, fishing for a compliment. Do I look fat in this? Would you still go out with me if? Is she prettier than me? You're totally checking out that waitress, things like that. Or maybe pestering or asking about other women he's dating. Now, I do believe in honest, open communication. And so if you're dating more than one man, Be honest and open about that if he asks, vice versa, like just to get a good idea of where he's at. Sure. But the reality is, think about this. A high caliber woman who knows her worth, who knows her value, who knows what she brings to the table, who has zero competition. Doesn't matter if he's dating anyone else. I know my worth. I also know I'm not going to sleep with him or be intimate until we're committed, till we're monogamous. Unless I decide I want to sleep with him and I don't care if he's sleeping with other women. So what I say is just assume he's dating other women. And you maintain your standards, you maintain your boundaries as a high class woman. There's the constant texting and communication. Over communication about your life, about your day. Honestly, I'll be blunt with you, that gets mundane and boring. It's not exciting. It's not attractive. It doesn't give him room to chase you or pursue you if you're always there communicating. I just had a smoothie. I just went for a walk. I just did this. I just did that. Like the over texting, the over communicating, save that for your girlfriends. You want to create the mystery. Have him excited to get your text. And there's going to be more on this in the texting scripts that you will get. Or wounded feminine, upset when he doesn't respond immediately, worried, like, oh my God, why haven't I got a text reply like 5 seconds later after I sent it to him? That's wounded feminine. That's not you and your worth, not you and your power. Constantly checking your text to see if he's replied. And I mean this in the most loving way, but if that's you, get a life. Make your life so full that you don't even notice. Like you're so busy with life and work and friends and fun and dinner and pleasure and reading the books and going to the shows, whatever it is that you enjoy, like create that full life where it's like the text or the call from him is icing on a cake. That's incredibly attractive to high quality men because once again, you're responsible for 90% of your happiness. And if he knows he's just the cherry on top, that he can fit into your amazing life, that he's going to have to step up even higher to fit in with a caliber woman like you. Or you're the one constantly reaching out first, trying to get his attention, right? Look at me, look at me. It's wounded feminine, but it's also kind of you and your masculine, depending what the energy is. If you're coming at it from the energy of like, look at me, or the energy of like, I'm going to win this guy over. I'm going to plan the date. I haven't heard from him, so I'm going to let him know I have tickets to a concert. I don't know why I just went that masculine voice, but you know what I mean. So the healthy feminine knows her worth. She leans back and allows herself to be pursued, and she doesn't bat an eye if for some reason some man's not pursuing her. Doesn't matter. She's busy. She knows her worth. She's going to go do whatever it is that she's going to do to make herself happy. Now, there's other considerations that fall into this category for the communication mistakes, is not giving him space, right? So some of these things fall into play at different areas, different timelines of when you're dating. So if you've gone on a first date, a second date, you've been dating for a couple of weeks or maybe even more than a month, right? So you'll have to fit these in accordingly based on what level you're at with the dating. So you're not giving him space to pursue his interests, his hobbies, his passions, his friends. And typically when this happens, it's because you are not pursuing your interest, your hobbies, your passions. You're not hanging out with your friends. Have a rich, full life that he can fit into. Don't make him your entire life and vice versa. He needs his space. He needs his independence. He doesn't need to spend all of his time with you and tell you where he's going. He needs to have the space to miss you, to pursue you, to wonder, I wonder what she's doing today. I haven't heard from her. So that he can reach out to you, so that he has the space to think about you. And then furthermore, and this happens so often when women don't fully accept themselves and they're not fully in their worth, is that they reject their man. They might pick on him. They make his hobbies, his interests silly, what he does silly. So can he fully express himself around you, or will he feel rejected? Pick a man that you can fully accept for who he is. And this circles back to your own sense of self-love and self-acceptance, which is why the first part of the magnetic femme is love. Turn the search inward. Every single client I've ever worked with, no matter how successful she is, how rich she is, how beautiful she is, how many boxes she has checked of success in her life, still struggles with self-love, self-worth, self-acceptance. And in fact, usually the reason she's so successful is she's trying to prove herself because she doesn't fully believe in herself. So men want to feel free in a relationship. The catch-22 is that actually draws him closer to you. It's like the more space you give him where he knows he's not going to be smothered, the more connection he desires with you. But the more you smother him, the more he'll pull away. Men and women are very different. The feminine energy craves that intimacy and that connection. The masculine energy craves the independence. But in a high caliber, high quality relationship where both have done the work and recognize the difference between the masculine and the feminine energy, how to be fully in your empowered feminine and for him to be fully in his empowered masculine, they will both understand the energetic dance that happens. And the more space you give him to be him and do his thing, the more loved and accepted and respected he will feel, which will actually draw him closer to you. So the first communication mistake is when you're in your wounded feminine, needy, insecure, jealous, and pursuing. Can anybody relate? Anybody relate to maybe the wounded feminine? Okay. My mail keeps pulling up. Jen says I can relate to that. Yes. All right, so the second one, Joanna, definitely. Laura, definitely, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's why in the Magnetic Femme, love and flirt, boundaries, confidence, they're all included in that because you're not alone, my dears. I work with every single one of my clients on this. Once again, no matter how successful she is, she's been running her business for years. She's been a single mom for years, top of her game for years, whatever it is, we can all get there because the feminine energy craves that closeness. It's almost like we have that anxious attachment style just naturally built into us. And the men have the avoidant attachment style naturally built into them because they need that space. So when you understand that, it makes relationships so much easier. All right, the second communication mistake is when you are moving too fast, when you are smothering him. So you're pursuing him. I have tickets to a concert. Want to come with? I had a client in Magnetize group coaching was asking, am I in my masculine if I invite him to a concert next weekend if the first date goes well? You haven't even been on a date with him and you're already considering inviting him to a concert with you the weekend after? Yeah, that's very much in your masculine and pursuing, and you're getting way too ahead of yourself. You haven't even had a first date yet. So pursuing him, moving too fast, talking about children, family, the future on the first date. Want to see a picture of my best friend's baby, like beating around the bush, trying to see, does he want kids? Once again, men want to feel free in a relationship. This is going to draw him closer to you. Katya, attachment style women naturally have more of the anxious attachment style, which means it's the like neediness, and men will naturally have more of the avoidant. They want to be independent, right? And pull away. So we have opposite attachment styles naturally and inherently built into us. And so the moving too fast, the smothering him, it's really important that we let the man lead the pace of the relationship. You let him lead. You match his lead. The only exception here is physical intimacy, in which case I always advise women to wait, to reject him at least a couple of times to actually see where his interest lies, if it's actually just in sex or him getting to know you. So let him lead the pace. And what I mean by that is let him call you up. Let him invite you out. When he introduces you to his friends, that's when you introduce him to your friends. When he introduces you to his family, that's when you introduce him to your family. You let him lead the pace. And if it's not meeting the pace that you want, you don't try to quicken it. But you might date other people, right? There's different dating phases to move through. And so many women have issues with these first two, the smothering, the moving too fast, or the wounded feminine, right? The needy, insecure, jealous, and they get too far ahead of themselves. And this happens for a variety of reasons, but what I've seen so far with every single one of my clients, and I've had to do this work, trust me, to work through it as well, is it's because we don't have a strong sense of self-worth and self-love. You're looking externally for it, the validation from the man. And so that's why confidence and love are both included in the magnetic femme, because confidence is all about cultivating that inner sense of confidence. So you know who you are and you can speak up about your needs and your desires, and it doesn't matter how the other person, the date, the guy responds. But the beautiful thing is, confidence is incredibly desirable, attractive, and sexy. Think about it. You want a confident man. You want a man who knows his worth. He knows where he's going. You know he's successful. If anything, even if he's a little bit too cocky, that's much more attractive than the man who's wimpy, isn't it? So it's the same thing with women. We need to step much more into that confidence, that knowing of, I know my worth, I know my value. I don't care if you're dating other people. I don't care if you haven't texted me, you haven't called me. Doesn't matter. Would I like you to? Absolutely. Would I love to continue dating you and seeing you? Absolutely. But if you don't see my worth and my value, then I am not going to waste another breath on you. I'm going to have another date this weekend. I'm going to go out with the girls. Okay. And so within the love program, for example, that's all about turning the search inward. So rather than looking externally for love, you've got to find it here within yourself. And it supports you in feeling completely comfortable in your own skin, not needing to chase a man, a relationship to fill a hole. And the beautiful catch-22 is when you're in that leaned back, I don't need it energy, that's when the men show up. They can feel that. They're energetic beings just like we are. So when you don't need a man, but you desire him, when you're not in that graspy, needy energy, they can feel that. It's incredibly attractive. And I've seen this shift happen with so many of my clients when they shift from the like obsessing over the ex and they energetically release him. What always happens is the ex shows up out of nowhere, calls out of nowhere, texts out of nowhere. It's like they can feel it. Or when you start dating someone new that you're excited about, like the ex shows up because you energetically just let go. So that's the energy that you need to be in. And once again, if you need help and support with that, that's why I've created the magnetic femme the way I did. And then the third communication mistake is now wounded masculine. Laura said that happened to me yesterday. An ex reached out. Yeah, they can feel it, of course. So the wounded masculine, that, and I would say probably 90% of my clients are in the more of the wounded masculine than the wounded feminine. And what I mean by that is because they become so successful and focused on their careers, or like Veronica, single mom, building her own business. Like you're just so in that masculine energy of I can do it on my own. I don't need anybody's help or support. And so even though you want a relationship and you're going out on dates and trying to meet men, you're still too much in that masculine. And it comes off. Men can feel that. So you're not asking for his opinion, his advice. You can do it all on your own. You're not respecting his opinion or advice. That constant pushback, the arguing, I need to prove myself. I need to express my opinion, that competition. Trying to prove yourself, trying to prove your worth, trying to impress him. Like, let me share with you everything that I've done in my life. And the high caliber man, so the high quality man who truly is strong and secure in his masculine and his knowing and his drive and his purpose and his passion, who's successful, has his shit together, attractive, full head of hair, etc. He wants his opposite. He wants the loving, supportive, feminine. He wants to know that you have his back, that you are his complement, not his adversary. So the masculine and feminine energy dynamics, how do you show them in person communication, but also texting communication, phone communication? These are all different aspects of communication. And so one of your bonuses, the texting scripts, you'll get those in email. And it's not that you're necessarily meant to use the scripts verbatim, word for word, but you could, absolutely. But it's more to show you the energy behind it. Because if you're trying to like master the texting, that's still you and your masculine, right? But it's just showing you different ways to be more in that playful, receptive, feminine energy. So the 3 communication mistakes: wounded feminine, smothering him, moving too fast, and the wounded masculine. We go deeper into this in both boundaries and flirt, like how to speak up in a loving and feminine, supportive and powerful way. I had a woman client once in flirt that's like, well, Emerald, am I just supposed to be this bimbo? I was like, no, of course not. You still get to be the strong, empowered feminine who knows what she wants and asks for it, but speaks up in a way that's not demanding, that's not the pushback, that's not the wounded masculine, that understands how to ask for help and support in a way that the masculine will hear it and want to give it to you so that you can receive it. Okay. Shift number 3, your energy. So the rest of tonight's training will be shift number 3, your energy. So first it was your actions, then it was your words, and now it's your energy, the invisible element. So 5 invisible elements that magnetically attract men to you consistently. First one, confidence, right? Talked about this before. So the confidence aspect is knowing what you want and going after it. Being direct in what you want in a relationship or what you don't want. And it doesn't have to be with him, but to be able to confidently say, I absolutely would love to have a family one day. I'm not saying that I want it to be with you, right? And so many women are afraid to speak up about what they want because they don't want to give the wrong impression. Maybe you don't want kids, but you're scared to speak up about it because what if he does want kids? Men love a confident woman. And let me tell you why. Because a confident woman knows what she wants and speaks up about it, which means he doesn't have to guess. He knows exactly how to please you. This is why men love bitchy women. Not because they're bitchy, but because they're confident. They know what they want. They don't beat around the bush. They don't play passive aggressive. They don't give the silent treatment. They make it known when they're upset. They make it known when they are happy. They make it known what they want. But how do you say it in a loving way? So once again, we go deeper into this in flirt and confidence and give you tools and formulas that you can use, that you can like adjust for yourself. But they're really powerful formulas. Confidence is also knowing your worth, which means you're not talking badly about yourself. You're not talking down on yourself. So a woman who is confident is attractive to high caliber men, just like you are attracted to confident men. And these are the invisible elements, because you can say one thing, I'm confident, but if your body energy, if your voice, if your shoulders are slumped, like, do you believe me when I tell you that I'm confident? Versus a woman that's like, absolutely. I know we're going to crush it this year in Q1. I already have my goals completely lined out. It's going to be absolutely exceptional and incredible. I'm excited to see where we're going to be by the end of March 2023. Confidence, it's energy. It's not the words. It's more than the tone of voice. It's more than the delivery, but it's a woman who knows who she is and what she wants and isn't afraid to speak it. So if you need support with this, confidence is the most powerful course that I could offer you to cultivate that internal sense of confidence, that people will feel that externally. Turn heads when you walk into the room, that you know your worth, regardless of what happens around you, whether he calls you or not, whether you have a date or not. And that's incredibly magnetic. Veronica, I'm fine with being in my feminine energy. What's challenging is being flirtatious as I got misunderstood in the past. Yeah, flirt would probably be really good for you or even the entire Magnetic Femme program because there is a system to go through. Laura was saying the same thing, right? Like it makes me feel unsafe. I tend to turtle when I meet someone I'm interested in. Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here. And Veronica, when you say it's about empathy, it's challenging for me to reject and hurt the other person. This is definitely boundaries, definitely self-love, definitely confidence. Like there's so much internal work here that needs to be done because you're not responsible for anybody else's feelings. I'm very much an empath. And I also realize that my journey is my journey. And the only thing I'm responsible for is showing up and being my best self and being in my heart when I deliver conversations. When I say no to someone or I'm no longer interested, there are certain ways that you can say things that are incredibly loving. And you know that you did your best, but you're not responsible for someone else's journey or how they receive it. So I get it. I absolutely understand. But that can be shifted. The second invisible element, the playfulness, the flirting, right? To help a man feel desired. And there are, of course, certain physical actions like maybe touching him, but then there's eye contact, there's complimenting. He has to feel like you desire him, but vice versa, he has to desire you. He has to know that you desire him without being dependent on him, which is why the independence is so important. So that invisible element of the playfulness and the flirting that's created with the tension, the push-pull, not just in your masculine. 3, boundaries and standards. This is an invisible element, right? Like you've set your boundaries, you've set your standards, you might speak up about them. So that plays into your words as well. But like I said before, men like bitchy women. They like them because they have standards. They know what they're available for and unavailable for. They know what they want and they say it. Boundaries. Incredibly important to master and incredibly attractive to men. Do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you maintain the boundaries that you set for yourself? They're paying attention and they know a high value woman sets her boundaries and keeps them, makes a commitment to herself and keeps it. I just did a post on my Instagram story today. I just committed to a 21-day challenge that I'm doing. It's a workout challenge myself in my home. I have no accountability partner. But when I make a promise to myself, I keep it. I set standards for myself and I keep them. That's high value. Men are looking for that. And what this also does is it inspires him to be a better man around you because he knows you have standards and a high bar. So he knows he needs to step it up. So when you prioritize yourself, you prioritize your needs, you prioritize your desires over his desires, this is showing self-respect. And a man will actually respect you more because you respect yourself. He might try to get you to stay over. He might try to go further physically than what you want, but you have your boundaries. You have your self-respect. You're like, no, thank you. So when you put a high value on yourself, he will too, but you have to go first. Boundaries, standards, growth mindset. You don't talk badly about past relationships. That's not to say you can't share what worked and what didn't work and what you're unavailable for, but you're not living in the past. You're not being that victim mentality. You're calling him out on his behavior. It's one thing to be, let's say, 10 minutes late and to be understanding of that. Or to ask like, hey, what happened? I thought you were picking me up at 8, it's 8:10. But if he's being rude or sent you a text that was disrespectful or out of line or clearly a booty call, you say so. You set those standards, those boundaries, you teach him how to treat you. And that's what boundaries is all about, the course. Teach others how to treat you. Sex and waiting to have it until you're ready, until you feel connected emotionally, mentally. Stick to your guns of what you're available for. You can still let him know that you desire him and you're interested in it one day, but just not yet. And as I said before, I always suggest that you wait. Jen, you reject his advances at least once or twice just to make sure. Is he interested in sex or you? And if a man has sex too soon before he's bonded emotionally with you, then most likely he is going to walk. The fourth one, appreciation and gratitude. So, yes, I realize appreciation and gratitude are words that you would speak, but the words are meaningless without the feeling. So, you have to let him know. He has to feel your appreciation, the validation that you notice, the effort, the energy that he's putting into the relationship. And this encourages him to try even more. You compliment him, you let him shine in front of you. You appreciate him for it. And bonus points, you do it in front of other people. But this is an energy thing because once again, it's not the, oh, thanks for finally putting gas in my car. It's thank you so much. I really appreciate that you remembered and you put gas in my car today. It means the world to me. That's going to inspire a man to do even more for you. And why so many relationships go sour over time is they stop treating each other how they did in the beginning. They stop showing the appreciation, the gratitude, for example. And the fifth one, the feminine receptive energy. This is the one that my clients all struggle with the most because they're so used to doing it on their own. So it's letting him support you. It's asking for his help, his opinion, his guidance. When he tries to do something, rather than no, I can do it. You don't need to get the door. I can hang the picture. It's letting him support you, and so much of that is energy that they can feel, that you can soften around him. So once again, if we're really thinking about that strong, high caliber match that you're looking for, a man who is driven, who is passionate about what he's doing, who is sharing his gifts with the world, who's going after what he wants, knows who he is, solid, grounded, spiritual, centered. That's a masculine man. That's masculine energy. He does not want to be with a masculine woman. So this isn't about you not being successful and independent and having your own life. You still have those qualities. This is about embracing more of who you are and allowing more of the feminine to show, the flirtatious, fun, playful side to show, the appreciation, the gratitude, the receptive energy to show, to balance it, to not be so far in your masculine, but bring some more of these feminine qualities, especially in your relationship and your dating world. And then when you're working and running your career, or your business, when you're at work, that's when you're in the masculine. But in your partnership, you're in the feminine, right? So it's understanding how to have that beautiful balance. And that's why I call my coaching program the Magnetic Femme, because you're learning how to be the magnetic feminine energy. You already know how to do the masculine energy. You don't even have to think about it. You're already the embodied masculine energy, especially as a single woman, right? You're doing everything on your own. You're already in the masculine all the time, except for when you maybe have some dance breaks or take a bath or go out with your girlfriends. You're way too much in your masculine. That's the problem. It's learning how to be in your feminine, which is what the entire program of the Magnetic Femme is about, but especially the flirt course. So within the Magnetic Femme, it's a certain combination of my programs and private coaching over a 6-month period to get you into that position where you fully embody your feminine energy and understand the dance between the two and how to be in the masculine, which you already know how to do, but the healthy masculine, and how to be in the feminine without having to think about it too much, right? To just be able to flow between those two energies intuitively. So next point, back into this shift number 3, your energy. How to let go of the obsessive need to pursue men, plan the dates, and take control. So like I said before, The anxious avoidant attachment styles. There's a lot of work on this, a lot of research, and the ideal, of course, is to be a secure attachment style, which is you're secure in yourself. Like, yes, of course, you want to be in partnership, but it's not the end of the world if you're not, if he doesn't call, if he doesn't text. But you're also not the avoidant trying to avoid it, right? And to like retreat into your shell because you've been hurt in the past. Okay. And in general, women are more naturally anxious because the feminine energy craves that closeness. And in general, men are more avoidant because the masculine energy craves that independence, that freedom, that success, that drive. So the challenge already is we have men and women naturally at opposite ends of the poles, where men need that freedom that helps to build up their testosterone, actually, and women need the closeness, which helps to build up their estrogen. So how do we do that balance? And so it's why so many women can be like obsessed and chase and pursue because they want that closeness. Or they're too much in their masculine energy because they're used to getting everything on their own and doing it on their own. So they're chasing, they're pursuing, they're planning the dates, they're taking control. So it's like you've got two strikes against you already. You're single, so you're doing it all on your own in the masculine energy, and you're a woman and you crave closeness. So you've got that anxious attachment style. So you've got two strikes. It makes it even harder to like, whew, just like let go and trust and be in the healthy feminine. And so the biggest thing is to really embody feminine energy, because the masculine is about the pursuing and doing. And like I said, you already know how to do the masculine. You're in that all the time. Whereas the feminine is the receiving. It's not doing, it's you're already worthy. That is where the work lies for all of you, for all of my clients, because that doesn't come natural. That's not what we were taught. The trusting, the letting go. And that's why the entire course of flirt is included in the Magnetic Femme. So if you need support with that, I've got your back. I've got you covered. Every single one of my clients has needed support with that. So you've got to trust the man to lead. And I have a client example here. I have a lot of client examples, but I'm just going to give you a couple tonight. Well, my tonight, probably your morning, unless you're in Europe. And so Jennifer, past client, before we started working together, before she went through the programs in the Magnetic Femme, she was dating men beneath her who were safe, men she knew that would never leave her. Why? Because this allowed her to stay in control. She could control her reality, control her dates. Once again, they were beneath her, they were safe, she knew they'd never leave her, so she was in control. Now, we started working together and she started to apply all the principles in flirt, being more in that feminine energy, more trusting, more allowing herself to be supported by men. And she manifested an amazing man, John. But it was still, she wanted to control it all because that was her MO, what she was used to. She wanted to plan the days, plan the trips, plan the vacations, etc. So it does take time to implement these shifts and changes. That's why at the very beginning of this presentation, I said, there isn't a magic pill. These are shifts that when applied over time, become more natural. They become embodied. It's not you go to the gym once and you're fit. You continuously work out. You continuously eat well. So it's not a one and done. It's we work on it over time. So she worked on it over time, slowly releasing the reins of control, working more and more on being in the feminine, confidence, boundaries, speaking up about her needs, her wants, her desires. Now I'm happy to report 2 years later, he does it all. He plans all the trips, all the dates, all the vacations. She doesn't bat an eye. She trusts him completely. She gave him the space to step up, and he did. Plus, of course, applying the communication techniques and boundaries and confidence and flirt. And so it's applying these tools and concepts and shifts over time. And then it becomes natural for you. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit of what she said, which is 2 years ago, I was stalking Emyrald's Facebook posts, reading them all, but I didn't have the courage to do anything about it. I could identify with her stories, I knew she was speaking to me, but I couldn't do anything about it. I was scared and stuck in old patterns, relationships that felt like a worn shoe. Comfortable because they were familiar, but in no way they were truly what I wanted, right? So you've got to get out of your comfort zone. And then one day, Emerald told a success story of someone she'd worked with who created the life of their dreams and manifested the man they knew they were worthy of. And that did it for me. I thought, I'm going to be one of those stories. I'm a typical type of corporate exec. I know how to work. I like getting shit done. So, how hard could this be? So, I signed up and realized that if I was going to do this, I needed to invest in me just like I invest in my fitness, health, and wardrobe. If I can spend money on bags and shoes, I can invest in manifesting my dream life. Today, she says, I've created and manifested an amazing man in my life that treats me like a queen, a new job that's everything I wanted and more, a relationship with my ex husband that's not just amicable, but strong and parenting together and even sometimes fun, relationships with my kids that are easier and calmer and more enjoyable, and most importantly, a relationship with myself I am super proud of and confident in. And now I am one of those stories that Emerald tells. You can't find a better partner in Emerald to help you get out of your way because that's all that's standing in the way of you and the life you dream of. So she was totally in control mode because, like many of you, single mom, on top of her game, running her own career. She was VP of a company with 1,400 people below her. So, needless to say, she's very much in that masculine energy. And it does take time to shift into the feminine, to be more trusting, receptive, to let go of the obsessive need to control it all. But I promise you, it's 100% possible. And then, one final thing that I wanted to say about that obsessive need to control, especially with the men, the dating, the text, is what you can do is just shift and get busy on truly creating and living your own fabulous life. Schedule in a lot of activities into your schedule that you love so that you're not focusing entirely on dating, so that you don't lose yourself once you start dating an amazing man. And it's not about merging worlds, it's about having your own amazing life that he wants to be part of. So you're going out into the world. Those of you that said maybe you aren't even dating or you don't want to date, it's you creating a fabulous life. And in the process of you creating a fabulous life, you're going to meet other fabulous human beings with similar shared interest. And I was just talking to my clients in the group coaching program over the last couple of weeks about this, like how to expand the possibilities of meeting exceptional high caliber men. Well, it involves you going out and creating the life that you're passionately wild about and how you show up, what type of woman you are when you're at these events and at these places. So create your own amazing world that he wants to be a part of. Don't make him, the guy, the dating, the relationship, your entire world. Um, if you want support with this, love, turn the search inward, is absolutely going to help you create a life that you're wild about, to put yourself first, to let go of that obsessive need to control it all, to step so much more into your worth and value and believe that you can have that, that you're worthy of that. And so, a quick recap of these: the 5 invisible elements: confidence, playfulness, boundaries, appreciation, feminine energy, how to let go of the need to control. It's the feminine energy, and that takes time. I'll just be completely honest with you. That just takes time. And then, if you're in the wounded feminine, and you're obsessively chasing him, then get busy creating your own fabulous life. All right, the last little bit here tonight, my loves: how to become the woman that men want to commit to. So there's different categories that men will put you in. Friends, you ever been friend zoned? Friends with benefits, casually dating, just someone I have a date with every once in a while, versus long-term partnership material. And I know the majority of you are here because you're looking for that long-term partner. That's the category that you want to be seen with the men that you're dating. They see you as a long-term partner potential. And so the first bit is being that well-rounded woman, because when a man is thinking of that long-term potential, he wants to know that she's independent and strong and successful, but also nurturing and soft and receptive and playful and flirtatious, right? So that you're well-rounded and you know when to be which one. You're not just fun all the time. Because guess what? Life does get serious. Are you going to have his back when the shit hits the fan and there's challenges, or are you just going to make a joke over it all? So there has to be that balance. And most likely, if you're like the majority of my clients, you've probably mastered the successful, independent, strong. Now it's time to learn how to nurture the other aspects of you. Second thing, challenging him, not being so easy to win over. And based on what some of you had said today, I don't think all of you struggle with this, but before you give someone your heart, you let him win it. You challenge him a little bit. You aren't so quick to be like, I love you. You're so amazing. I want to be with you. But why don't you prove it to me? Why don't you try to win me over? You're not my everything. I've got a life. I've got friends. I might be dating other men. Oh, I'm not going to sleep with you, right? And it's not that you're saying it that way, but it is that energy of, I'm not so easy to please, buddy. I'm not just going to choose you because you choose me. And this is more of the wounded feminine energy, right? Who doesn't really know herself, doesn't really stand in her worth, isn't that confident goddess. And so she errs too often to the, well, he picked me, so I'll pick him, because she's so desperate for love. Men can feel that. A high caliber man does not want a woman who chooses just anyone, but a woman who has standards and says, you need to rise to the occasion, buddy, because a high caliber man wants to be challenged. He doesn't want it to be easy. He wants to work at it. He wants to win you over. He wants to know, she made me work for it. She made me earn it. And then he feels even better about himself because it wasn't easy. And once again, this isn't about playing games. This isn't about playing hard to get. This is just being a woman with standards and taking your time to really let someone prove to you who they are. And how this ties in with the confidence aspect is, you know your worth, you know your value. Your life doesn't revolve around a man or a relationship. You know what you need. You know what you desire. You know what you don't want and what you're unavailable for, and you can speak it in a kind, loving, heart-centered, feminine way without being bitchy, demanding, needy. You're a high caliber woman. You're the Audrey Hepburn, the Marilyn Monroe. You don't take no shit, but you can still be kind and in your heart about it. And so if you need support with that, once again, in the Magnetic Femme, within the Love and Boundaries program, that's why we go so deeply into this stuff, because this is embodiment. It's not thinking, wait, what am I supposed to say in this situation? It's embodying, it's knowing intuitively, because you've done the work to become that woman, how to say these things in a way that expresses high class, that you don't put up with shit. This is how I deserve to be treated. This is how I treat myself. This is how I treat others. So of course you're going to treat me that way with the same level of standards. Then there's the feminine energy, the leaned back energy. It's not being in a rush. You're not trying to get to the finish line. You're letting him show you who he is. You're letting him guide the pace of the relationship. It's not, where is this going? You let him pursue you, and you just meet where he's at. And you're not overly involved in a man who's not overly involved with you. That's why I say you meet him where he's at. If he's just casually dating you, then you're just casually dating him, and you're casually dating other men as well. You let him prove himself to you. You have the job. He is the one applying for it, not the other way around. So confidence in who you are and what you want. But also the flirting, the feminine energy, the desire, letting him know that you do desire him. How do you show up in that powerful way so that he sees you as more than just a friend, so that he sees you as more as just someone he's dating or someone he'd like to hook up with? It's truly you embodying a certain caliber of woman. And then that magnetism to love. I mean, there's so much we got into in today's masterclass, but the biggest thing that I wanted to share with you in regards to being magnetic to love and that long term partner is that you truly are happy. You are happy on your own. There isn't a void. There isn't once I get the guy, once I have the partner, then my life is finally beginning. It's you living the life of your dreams today without that desperation, without that neediness, without that something is wrong or something is missing. That and I'm grateful for where I'm at. I'm so excited about where I'm at. I am so happy where I'm at. I'm so full where I'm at. I'm so complete where I'm at. And I know what I want in partnership. I know who I'm manifesting. I know that he's stepping in. I want partnership, but I'm so happy where I'm at right now. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a hurry. I don't need to pursue a man. I'm good. Do I desire partnership? Absolutely. Do I see myself in a long term partnership? Absolutely. Am I a catch of a woman and any man would be lucky to be with me? Absolutely. So it's being able to have that divine balance of grateful, truly, truly grateful, happy, content with where I'm at, and excited about what I'm calling in. That energy right there is incredibly magnetic. And that's the point, the spot to be in that I see the shift for every single one of my clients that go through the Magnetic Femme is you shift from the where's the guy, what's wrong with me, what am I doing wrong, to this contentment, this happiness all on my own, while also having this trust and this faith of while I'm working on myself and I know who I am and I know what I want and I know this vision for my life and partnership. And when you marry those two energies, you become magnetic to exceptional men because you don't need them. But you have that confidence of like, well, of course he's showing up. But in the meantime, I'm going to have an amazing life. Incredibly, incredibly magnetic. So I'm going to share with you a couple more examples to inspire you and remind you of absolutely what is inevitable for you as well. So Lauren, way too much in her masculine, thought she could do it all on her own, incredibly uber independent, trying to control men, dating, life, etc. The most impactful parts of the Magnetic Femme program for her were boundaries, flirt, and love. And once again, I'm going to share with you what she says, and I'm sure you can see yourself in her. I'm smart, I'm driven, I achieved all of my career goals, and I can happily support myself. How could I go wrong with love? But with each of my long-term relationships, they would slowly get unhealthy. There would be fighting, anger, judgment, frustration, and resentment. But then I met Emyrald and I jumped in and figured it was worth a try. I started delving into the masculine and feminine concepts in relationship, learning about manifestation and cultivating the belief that I deserve the love my heart yearned for. I left my husband, moved out, and faithfully did all the exercises in the program. I made my list of what I wanted in a partner with 50 things on it. I learned how to let my shit go and embrace the feminine core nature that had been blocked for years. Within a month, I found my dream condo, a gorgeous view in the part of town I wanted to be in. I was gifted a Lexus, met the man I'd always dreamed of. He was everything on my list and more. We want the same things. I've never doubted where he stands, and we truly just love and support each other. We don't say harsh words, we don't fight, and the intimacy is incredible. I feel sad for the years I spent not believing that I deserved everything I wanted, believing that life and love had to be a compromise. If you want a result like you've never gotten before, you have to do something you've never done before. Emyrald changed my whole damn life, and I will never be able to thank her enough. They just got married this year. They have bought their dream home, and they're pregnant with their baby girl on the way. So for her, just like tonight, the shift, the masculine energy, the biggest shift, right? We talked about actions, we talked about words, we talked about energy. The energy is the biggest one. Absolutely. Because that's where your words come from, your actions come from. It's the energy. Polly says, the men I am most attracted to often put me in the friend zone. I date good men, but they don't commit or they might have certain addictions. The men I really want haven't asked me out, even though we exchange numbers. I want to be more in the flirty energy and less in the friend energy. The texting scripts will help you. The flirt program would absolutely help you. The entire Magnetic Femme program would hurt you or help you. Wouldn't hurt you, it would help you. Things are getting better. They're shifting. I'm getting more attention, having more synchronicities. Beautiful, beautiful. I've been working on that, living a fabulous life. Amen, sister. Yeah, like I said, that's the biggest shift. If I had to boil all the shifts down to one, they all fall under the being in the masculine energy and not understanding the receptive energy, the flirty energy, the playful energy, understanding what men are looking for, which is the feminine energy, the flirty energy, the playful energy, the attractive, magnetic, irresistible energy that once again is not what you look like or how tall you are or your body shape or your age or where you're from. Like it has nothing to do with that. The magnetism, the irresistibility, the confidence, it's an inside job. It's the invisible elements that matter more than anything else. And so many women get so caught up on age and appearances when that has nothing to do with it. Sure, certain men are attracted to a hot woman, but they will all say that that attraction fades really fast if there's no substance. A man even told me once, he's like, it's just from sex to sex. He's like, what do you talk about in between sex then? Exactly. So we're talking high caliber men here, not the men that are just looking for sex and pretty women. Yeah, those men exist, but that's not the man you're looking for. And then I have one more example. Malaysia, before working together, really wounded feminine in a way, like negative self-talk, hung up on her ex. Now, interestingly enough, also super successful in her career and finances, but self-worth and self-love, no way. So love, boundaries, confidence were most impactful for her. And by the end of the program, had met a boyfriend, met the guy a couple of years later. Now they're married. But I want to share her story as well. You can see if you see yourself in her and to give you the reminder, the inspiration that's possible. It's inevitable for you when you apply these shifts. So she says, my heart was very sad. The love of my life dumped me, but he was still texting me romantic, meaningless messages that kept me attached to him for 7 months after the breakup. I was depressed, 34 years old, and alone. I couldn't believe this was happening to me again. I was falling apart, but at the same time, I was tired of being sad. So I decided to enroll in the Magnetic Femme. My intention was very clear. I wanted to find a man that could make me happy. I was 100% committed to doing the work. After the first week, I stopped smoking and I started to love myself again. Halfway into the program, I finally blocked my ex naturally and easily. All of the exercises she taught us changed my life in so many ways. Life was good again. And 1 month before the end of the program, I met Javier online. And since he lived in Europe at the time, I couldn't physically meet him right away. But the conversation was getting deeper and deeper. And after 3 weeks of talking, he had his tickets to come to New York to meet me. I started Emyrald's course hopeless and broken with only one goal: manifest my soulmate. I finished it loving myself the way I never did before, believing we can manifest it all, and with my beautiful boyfriend full of plans to travel together this year. Like I said, now they're married and living together in Florida. And so these women, just like you, experience the issues, whether it's the wounded feminine not fully loving herself or the wounded masculine, like that I need to prove it energy, I need to do it all by myself. But if we recap, like what the high caliber men are looking for, what makes them want to commit is the woman who is well-rounded, who's the independent and the feminine nurturer, who has her boundaries, whose standards, who lets a man win her over, gives him the space to prove himself. She's confident. She expresses her needs and her desires, but she's feminine and leaned back. And that's not to say she's not masculine at work, but in the relationship, she's trusting and allowing and receptive. And that magnetism to love is, I'm good on my own. I'm living my life of my dreams. And of course, my partner's coming in, but I don't need to control it because I'm really happy and content on my own. the energy is so attractive, but she's still moving forward towards her dreams, right? Like manifesting the love of your life is okay. I know what I want. I'm going after it in that healthy masculine energy, but you're also lean back and receptive to it showing up. So it's this embodiment of both of those energies. So if you're still wanting support or wondering like, okay, but do these types of men actually exist? So that belief and faith in the universe, or knowing that you are worthy of that relationship that you desire. So the self-love bit, trusting men to step up to meet your needs and desires, embodying the feminine energy, asking for help, allowing men to support you. That's all addressed and solved within the magnetic femme. So as I said, this class is training the irresistible woman was going to give you a sneak peek into the magnetic femme so that you could see the one big problem being in the masculine energy and how that affects so many things, your words, your actions, your energy, and why those shifts need to happen in order to be attractive to those high caliber men, to have them pursuing you and want to commit to you. And so the magnetic femme is 6 months of private coaching. It's 12 one-on-one calls over the 6-month period with Voxer support in between. And then all of these signature pre-recorded programs that we talked about tonight to go through exactly what you need to be attractive to these types of men. So the self-love necessary to believe in yourself, that you can have the type of man that you're looking for, to let go of your ex or friends with benefits, to have the confidence to speak up about your needs and desires without coming across as needy or desperate or overly demanding. And that's in confidence and boundaries. To cultivate a deep sense of confidence that you can have what you want in a partner, that he exists. That's also in confidence. And the ability to embody your feminine essence that already lives within you. To shift gears from masculine to feminine while dating. And then to shift gears from masculine to feminine while in partnership. And that's all addressed in flirt. And then magnetize pulls it all together. So all the tools and practices that have worked for hundreds of clients over the last 6 years to call in partners, fiancés, husbands that are high caliber, the type of man you're looking for that you deserve, that are communicative, attuned to your needs and desires. They're sexy and attractive and successful and worldly and spiritual, like everything you want in a man that you haven't seen while dating. And so over the course of 6 months, after 6 months, you can 100% expect to be meeting and dating these exceptional men that you are excited about, to have your pick of high quality men that are chasing you. And I've had more than one client say, I don't have enough weekends in the month to fit all these dates in. And to know without a doubt that you can meet incredible, available men anywhere. You truly can. At a grocery store, at a concert, at a yoga studio, at an elevator, at a conference, at work, they're all around. And to have the confidence to know that if it's not the man you're dating, then it's the next one. And he's even better. To not have the fear, the worry, the anxiety, there's only one out there. And most likely be dating the man you're going to be with for the rest of your life. The process works when you work the work. I see it happen time and time and time and time again. And so what would be next would be to visit emeraldsinclair.com/magneticfemme. If you're watching the replay and you're on the replay page, it's going to be the button, the link below this video. I'm going to send this out also an email afterwards. I'll put the link in the email as well, and you can fill out an application to work together. And we can take it from there. I find it hard to identify men I might be attracted to. I do date, but usually attraction does not really come up from my side. So that's communication, absolutely, and understanding how to screen men, understanding the differences between masculine and feminine energy. And when you're truly in your feminine energy, it's how a man makes you feel, and it's connecting to him, with him on an emotional level and a mental level, and not so much on a physical level. Whenever a woman shares with me like, oh, I'm not attracted to him, whether they haven't even gone on a date or not, and she's just basing it purely on looks alone, that's her being way too much in her masculine. And so that's a big block that I see for my clients as well, is they're trying to base the attraction on the I want to rip your clothes off factor, which once again is masculine energy. Okay, do we have any questions? I promised you all that we're here live that you would get the opportunity, of course, for live Q&A since you're here tonight. And in the meantime, while you're typing it in, I'm going to go over a couple of questions that I got over email. One woman said, my dating struggle is I meet someone ideal I'm excited about, who's spiritual, attractive, and loyal, but they have deep emotional blockages that prevent them from trusting women. This keeps happening over and over and over again. So here's the thing. Your external is reflective of your internal. So anytime you have a pattern of attracting certain types of men, in this case, unavailable men, emotionally unavailable. If a man doesn't trust a woman, then he's unavailable. That means you have your own wounds that you need to address, your own issues, your daddy issues, your mommy issues that need to be healed within you, which is why I said at the very beginning of the presentation, it's not what you do, but who you are when you're doing it. So these types of men that you're seeing, they're patterns, and they're showing you what needs to be healed within you. And this is what we would dig into over 6 months in the Magnetic Femme program, because it's not a, here's your answer. It's an embodiment piece. It's getting into the subconscious mind. It's identifying where this pattern first came from. Most likely it came from mommy or daddy. Probably daddy wasn't there. So you have trust issues around men, which is why you're attracting in men who have trust issues with women. You don't feel safe to open up, to be vulnerable, to be seen in a relationship. That can also be wounded feminine. That's why the self-love course is the very first one that's included in the Magnetic Femme. Second one, top dating struggle is even being someplace to meet available men. So here's the thing. If I engage in activities that make me feel good, but I don't see available men, nor do I see men that I find attractive. This is the biggest thing. No man looks attractive to me. They seem very rare and seem to only exist on TV. No man looks attractive to me. That's you being in your masculine energy. The feminine energy, it's how you feel when you're with them. So my challenge for you would actually be going out with men that don't necessarily are attractive to you in the beginning. And there was a study that shows that men become more or less attractive to women after she gets to know him. The men that were rated as a 9 or a 10 after she talked to him, she rated as a 5 or a 6, and vice versa. The men that she rated as a 5 or a 6 after she talked to them and he was a great guy, she rated as an 8 or a 9. So whenever a woman says that, she's way too much in her masculine if she's going for looks alone. And so that's why the flirt program is so important and so instrumental. Once again, this is the biggest block that all of my clients have to work through. And then one more email that kind of fit in with this, finding men that I find interesting and attractive. I don't meet and date men I have a spark with. Some of them I'm not even interested in platonic acquaintances. So in this case, Joanna, this is something that would be easier to dig into in a personal private coaching relationship, because it's, well, what are you doing to meet men? How are you screening men? What are types of conversations that you're having? What are your underlying belief systems that you believe? And it unfortunately becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of the more you see it, the more you believe it. So then the more you believe it, the more you see it. And it becomes this pattern, right? The cycle. And so you say, like, I stumble upon one I click with every few years. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So once again, that's why the Magnetic Femme is 6 months long, so we can go in and break these patterns. Telling dates no in a good, non-hurtful way, that we absolutely go into deeper in boundaries and confidence. And I walk you through how to have those conversations. It's not in the bonus texting scripts. That's more of like how to have that banter. But if you signed up for the online dating mastery series, it's a free series, it's on YouTube. That goes into that actually more. And so the biggest thing that I would say for you here is you've got some patterns, some old stories and belief systems that need to be broken. Patterns show up. What's the consistency in any pattern? You are the only consistency in every single relationship. Yeah. Usually the men are very nice, but I can't seem to find any attraction to them still. Yep. So these are things that need to be shifted within you. Once you shift the internal, the external will shift to match that. Yeah, you're welcome, Katya. You're welcome. Top dating struggle, no one to date online or in person. I either get no response, no interest, really bad options. Once again, I'm going to say the same thing, Christine, is that the internal needs to shift. And the challenge is it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy when it happens over and over and over again. So we've got to break the pattern. All right, my loves, wherever you go, there you are, says Angie. Exactly. So the irresistible woman, the 3 simple shifts that have high quality men pursuing you. Hopefully you got some, I know, not even hopefully, I know you got massive value from this today. And I look forward to seeing your applications. Some of you come in for the Magnetic Femme. And I want to remind you that this is once again about becoming more of who you are, not less, not trying to be this perfect version of yourself, this Barbie doll version of yourself, this version like her. No, this is just becoming that irresistible high caliber woman that the high caliber men are looking for. So some small, simple shifts. Yeah, like Desiree says, the good news is we are our own blocks. Yes. So if you realize that you're the problem, then you realize that you're the solution. So you are so welcome. You're welcome, Polly. You're welcome, Joanne. You're welcome, Joanna. You're welcome, Angie. Have an absolutely beautiful day.